Really dark. That is really dark. Hold on here. Hold on here. Let's go like... Actually, let's go from this side. Ugh. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome in on a Friday. It is Recap Friday. We are going to recap the entire week. Well, as much of it as I can. And we're going to start talking about what the plans are for some of these teams moving forward. So, looking at some of these teams, they've got signings. There's some teams that legitimately have done nothing. There are other teams that have done a lot. And we're going to look at them. So, my goal for today, I want to try to get the AFC done here in the next 45 minutes. It ain't going to happen, but we're going to try. We're going to walk down through each individual team's signings, all of them that are there, and we will just see what the thought process is heading into the 2026 football season. So let's open up with the Buffalo Bills, a team that has very little cap room. According to Over the Cap, right now they are $100,000. $100,000 in the positive right now. Right now. Yeah. Not great. Absolutely not great. So they signed Kyle Allen to back up Josh Allen, which I think is a very, very good move. His play style backs up what Josh Allen does. It works. It's a 2-year deal. Smart move. Then they go get their edge rush for their 34 defense. They go get Bradley Chubb, 3-year deal, $43.5 million with 29 of that guaranteed. He had a torn ACL in 2023. Bills opening up that new stadium. And then they got secondary help. They signed Dee Alford to a 3-year contract. And then they signed Gardner Johnson, the safety, to be able to come in because they released Taylor Rapp, the free safety. And they've got Cole Bishop back there, still in the fold, but we'll see what happens. Then they signed Mitch Wishnowsky to a 1-year deal. So the Bills weren't able to do a lot. Then you have the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins' big signing is going to be Malik Willis. If this works, it's a genius deal. 3 years, $67.5 million, $32.5 million a year basically. Or sorry, $22.5 million a year. And it gives them the flexibility. Remember, the Dolphins get $24 million back in salary cap at the end of this year, period. Because of the hit from Tua drops that much for 2027. So I absolutely believe in that signing for that amount of money. Now, a underrated signing, I believe, for Miami, they signed Tutu Atwell, the former Los Angeles Ram. 1-year deal, kind of a prove-it deal. But I think Tutu Atwell ends up being the slot receiver in Miami, and they will probably draft another receiver here coming up at the end of April. They signed Joshua Uche away from the Eagles for a 1-year deal. Signed Willie Gay to a 1-year deal. Jamari Slayer on a 1-year deal. Tight end Greg Dulcich on a 1-year deal. Zane Gonzalez, the kicker. They released Jason Sanders, who is a really good kicker. And they signed Zane Gonzalez, who's okay. Then they signed Darrell Baker Jr. to a 1-year deal. The corner, Lonnie Johnson Jr., the safety, to a 1-year deal. A.J. Green, the third, to a 1-year deal. Robert Beal, the defensive tackle, to a 1-year deal. Then they signed Riley Patterson, who had been filling in and is going to compete with Zane Gonzalez. So Zane Gonzalez and Riley Patterson, two kickers, are evidently going to fight against each other, see who's better. Zane Anderson, the safety, 1-year deal. Ben Sims, the tight end, 1-year deal. So I think their game plan is pretty obvious right now with 1-year deals. The 1-year deal trend shows this year is just going to be what it is. Do I think that they are tanking on purpose? Not really. No. I really don't believe that. I think they realize with the cap strap that they have, it's better to look at 2027. And I have no issues with that. You can sign all these guys to 1-year deals. If they ball out, you can re-sign them next year. So I don't hate the plan. It gives them a little bit of flexibility. All right, the New England Patriots signed Romeo Doubs, the receiver, 4 years, $80 million. I love this deal if he stays healthy. I love this deal if he stays healthy. If he's injured, it's going to be wasted money. They signed Elijah Vera Tucker, the guard, to a 3-year, $42 million deal, taking him away from the New York Jets. They signed Draymond Jones, the edge rusher, to a 3-year, $40 million deal, taking him away from the Baltimore Ravens. Kevin Byard, veteran leadership on the back end. We've seen what that does in Atlanta. Jesse Bates has been a stalwart back there. We've seen what that's done with the Chargers. Having a veteran safety on the back end does help. Patriots sign Byard to a 1-year, $8 million deal. Then they steal another in-division player. They get Reggie Gilliam from the Buffalo Bills, $12 million with $6 million fully guaranteed. He played 77% of the snaps on special teams and 21% of the snaps on offense. I mean, he's an old-fashioned fullback, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great move for the Patriots. Tight end Julian Hill signed a 3-year deal worth up to $18 million. Mike Brown, the safety, agreed to a 1-year deal, and KJ Britt, the linebacker, agreed to a 1-year deal as well. The New York Jets. Joseph Asai, one of their biggest signings, brought in on a 3-year deal, $34.5 million deal. He was a three-down edge for the Bengals last year. How he fits in, I don't know. I'll have to see. If they're going to go defense first with that first pick, we'll have to see how it goes. He's not that big. And the Jets' new 34 front, I don't know if he fits the 34 edge rush. Now, if he plays a straight edge, maybe. But, I don't know. That one is odd. So is the next one. Demario Davis, 2-year deal, $22 million. That is, he's 37 years old, guys. I mean, come on. But I think in the 34, he's going to be the second linebacker. He'll be the second middle linebacker. That's what I'm expecting. If he's not, I don't know. I don't know. David Onyemata, the defensive tackle, 6'4", 310-pound defensive tackle, comes in on a 1-year deal. Dylan Parham, left guard, former Raider, 2-year deal, $16 million. Kingsley Enagbare, defensive end, coming in on a 1-year deal. He's only 25 years old. Hopefully it's a prove-it deal. He was playing for the Packers last year after Micah Parsons got hurt. Dane Belton, the safety, 1-year deal worth $6 million. Nashawn Wright, the corner. Cade York, the kicker. And then Max Mitchell, the offensive tackle. On top of that, you got the trades that the Jets have made. They got Geno Smith in the trade. And then they also, before everything happened, remember they traded Jermaine Johnson to the Titans and got T'Vondre Sweat. All right, the Baltimore Ravens, the team that I really currently don't have a great taste of in my mouth because of how because of what they did. And rightfully so, I was not the only one that blasted how they did this. Rightfully so. And I'm happy that people called them out. So they back out on the Crosby trade. The Ravens then agreed to a 4-year, $112 million deal with Trey Hendrickson. All right, whatever. They then agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the safety Jalen Hawkins. Tyler Huntley, who's been the backup for Lamar Jackson for a couple years, 2-year, $5 million deal. They replaced a guard on the offensive line. John Simpson agreed to a 3-year, $30 million deal. Chidobe Awuzie signed a 1-year deal, the corner, 30 years old, but I think he's going to be I think he'll be a very good third corner. He can't be number one all the time, but he does play his specific position very well. Javon Ginn, 1-year deal, the guard. Durham Smythe, the tight end, also signs a deal. Also signs a 1-year deal. Remember, they lost Isaiah Likely, and that could affect them more than you realize. It really could. Okay, so the Cincinnati Bengals. This one is really short. Shocker. Boya Mafe, the defensive end from Seattle, 3-year, $60 million deal. They lost Trey Hendrickson. They lost Joseph Asai. They do get Mafe. He only had 2 sacks, but he had the 8th best pass rush win rate. He was always around the quarterback. That's what they're hoping he can do. Then they signed the former Chiefs safety, Brian Cook, to a 3-year, $40.25 million deal. And, yeah, that's it. I wish I was kidding. That's the 2 moves. There's a reason that Bengal fans are always frustrated, and that is right there. One of them. That is one of them. All right, the Cleveland Browns decided to be really stupid this offseason. They revamped everything on this offensive line. I don't know what they're doing. In fact, if I am in fantasy, when the schedule comes out in May, I am looking at who's playing the Browns early. Because this offensive line is going to be garbage very early. And maybe the whole year. Not because the players are bad. Let me put that out there. It will be because they're all new and they're all slightly overpaid. I have no problem, none, with overpaying for a lineman or 2. But you're overpaid for almost all of them. They signed Zion Johnson. He was not going to get this deal anywhere else. 3-year, $49.5 million deal. He absolutely struggled in pass blocking. A guard that struggles with pass blocking. He's great at run blocking, horrible at pass blocking. So when the Browns are down, like they will probably be, go after Zion. Then they signed Elgin Jenkins to a 2-year, $24 million deal. This one could end up being a center position. It just depends on what they look at here. Tevin Jenkins, their offensive lineman, they re-signed. He started at right guard last year. Plus, they traded for Titus Howard. They released Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin, and Joel Bitonio. Those guys are going to fill in the holes here probably around the draft. They'll get signed. You want veteran leadership, and they'll get signed. But this whole revamp of the offensive line for Cleveland, I don't get what I don't get what they're doing. So we'll see. All right, Quincy Williams, the linebacker, comes to the Browns on a 2-year deal. Then they also signed tight end Jack Stoll with David Njoku not returning in 2026. Harold Fandon Jr. does look to be the starter. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one really confused me. So they signed corner Jamal Dean from the Bucks, 3-year, $36.75 million. That doesn't shock me. They also re-signed Asante Samuel Jr. So their secondary, they're really working on. Then they signed the safety from the Bears, Jaquan Brisker, to a 1-year, $5.5 million deal. Okay. Then they signed Rico Dowdle. This one is odd. They let Gainwell go to the Bucks. They signed Rico Dowdle, 2 years, $12.25 million, and he'll compete with Jaylen Warren and third-round pick from last year, Caleb Johnson, who I honestly believe just didn't work with Pittsburgh's coaching, which definitely can happen. They then re-signed their punter, or signed punter Cameron Johnston to a 1-year deal, and they signed safety Darnell Savage to a 1-year deal as well. All right, we are rolling right along. Maybe we'll get the AFC done. Let's find out. All right, the Houston Texans. You can see the plan with the Texans. You can see what they're trying to do. They re-signed Ed Ingram, their offensive lineman. They re-signed Kymie Fairburn, the kicker, to the biggest kicker contract ever. They re-signed their defensive tackle, Sheldon Rankins. Then they go in free agency. They sign Reed Blankenship, the former Eagle safety, to a 3-year, $24.75 million deal. I love that deal because Blankenship's ability to play the back end or play the slot as what I call the hybrid safety between the corner and the safety. Because of his ability to play that position, he will blitz. This is great for the Texans. I love this signing. It's only $8 million a year. The cap number is really low. They're not paying the $12 or $13 million that those slot corners are now making. It works. You save $4 or $5 million a year, this one works. Then they signed Braden Smith, the offensive tackle, the former offensive tackle for the Colts. They traded away Titus Howard, who got a insane contract from the Browns, and they signed Braden Smith to a 2-year, $25 million deal. Look out for them to sign Conklin, Teller, or Batonio, and maybe even Rasheed Walker, but I don't think they need tackle. They'll go guard. And I think it'll work. Then they signed Logan Hall, defensive end. This is definitely a depth piece. They want their defensive line to have as much depth as possible. It's a 2-year, $14 million deal. I'll take it. They signed Dominique Robinson away from the Bears. 1-year deal worth up to $4 million. Then they signed tight end Foster Moreau away from the New Orleans Saints. So he will be behind Dalton Schultz. Gives them a lot more legitimacy with 2 tight end looks. I like it. I think it's an underrated signing. Foster Moreau, look for him to make a big impact with the running game, with David Montgomery back there now. The trade for Montgomery was huge. So we'll see what happens. All right. The Indianapolis Colts. Signing an injured Daniel Jones to a 2-year, $88 million deal. Don't want to talk about it. Then they signed Alec Pierce to a 4-year, $116 million deal. That one I'll talk about. That one we're good. Then they signed defensive end because we lost Kwity Paye. We lost Samson Ebukam. They signed former Titan Arden Key to a 2-year, $20 million deal. They signed Michael Clemens, the former Jet defensive end, who is definitely a second string rotation guy. 3 years, $17 million contract. And then the trade. Do you guys realize that this is embarrassing? This is embarrassing. The Indianapolis Colts traded Michael Pittman and picked 230 in the draft to the Steelers for only pick 214. Well, let me say this again. They traded a starting wide receiver 2 in the NFL to the Pittsburgh Steelers, along with pick 230 in this upcoming draft. And the draft pick they received is pick 214. There are some moves that you just don't understand. There are some moves that you cannot reason away, nor can you put critical thinking to. The Colts dumped Zaire Franklin's contract for Colby Wooden in a trade with the Packers. They dumped Michael Pittman's contract to the Steelers, who basically fleeced us in a bad way. The Colts have had a bad offseason. I mean, I like the Arden Key addition, but it's been bad. It's just been awful. All right. Jacksonville Jaguars haven't done much. They were strapped for cap as well. They did sign Chris Rodriguez Jr. away from the Commanders. 2-year deal, $10 million. They re-signed Montaric Brown, the corner, 26-year-old corner, 3-year, $33 million deal. Then they brought back Dennis Gardeck, 2-year deal coming back to Jacksonville. And currently, that is it. So Jacksonville is going to be very reliant on those draft picks. Now we get to the Tennessee Titans. This is not a short list. Here we go. Wan'Dale Robinson, 4-year, $78 million deal. 25 years old, back in Brian Dable's system, alongside Ellick, alongside Calvin Ridley. For now, I don't know if that's going to stay. Alongside Chimere Dike. It's a good move. It's a lot of speed. It is a lot of speed. Then they signed defensive lineman John Franklin Myers because they traded away T'Vondre Sweat, got Jermaine Johnson, who Robert Saleh is the one that wanted him, drafted him, got him. Got Robert Saleh's edge rusher. Then they went and they created a stalwart in the middle of that defensive line because they will be running a 43 again, not a 34. So now you got Jeffrey Simmons and John Franklin Myers in the middle. Your corners are Alontae Taylor, 3-year, $60 million deal. Cordell Float, which was a 3-year, $45 million deal. They brought in Mitch Trubisky on a 2-year deal to back up Cam Ward. They signed Josh Williams, which is just for depth, to a 1-year deal. They signed Austin Schlottman, rotational offensive line guy, center or guard. They signed Daniel Bellinger, which, from what I am hearing, they are going to run with Bellinger and Gunnar Helm. I don't like that for Cam Ward because neither one of them is a huge playmaker, but we'll see what happens. They signed offensive guard Cordell Volson, rotational guard. Defensive tackle Jordan Elliott to a 2-year deal. Linebacker Jacob Martin to a 1-year deal. Tommy Townsend is going to the Titans. 29-year-old, after letting their 36-year-old kicker, punter Johnny Hekker go. Joey Sly is going back to the Titans. Bryce Oliver signs a one-year deal, the receiver. Malik Herring, also one-year deal. Jarek Reed, the safety. Tony Adams, also the safety. That's more of a veteran move. That's veteran leadership in the back end, rotational second string guy. All right. Denver Broncos. They re-signed J.K. Dobbins to a 2-year, $20 million deal. I have no clue why. I have no clue why whatsoever. Then they re-signed Alex Singleton to a 2-year, $15.3 million deal. That one I know why. Justin Strnad, the other linebacker, signed a 3-year, $18 million deal. Then they re-signed Jordan Humphrey to a 1-year deal, and that is it. According to Over the Cap, the Broncos have, let's see, where are they at? They higher than I thought they were. Broncos have about $22 million in salary cap space open. So they don't have a lot because they got to sign all their rookies still. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs lost a lot of players, but they did upgrade in one of the biggest places they needed it. They got Kenneth Walker, and I do believe, if healthy, this is a great move. Great move. Trade Smith, Creed Humphrey, Kingsley Suamataia. They're decent for the middle. The tackles are what you question in Kansas City. You really don't question those middle three on that defensive line. You question the tackles, though. You absolutely question the tackles. Isaiah Pacheco last year never had a single rushing attempt of over 20 yards. Kareem Hunt had one. They're hoping Kenneth Walker raises that number by at least 8 to 10. They then re-signed Travis Kelce to a 1-year deal. They signed Alohi Gilman. They were able to go cheap for the safety position. A guy that kind of came on at the end of the year, didn't have to overpay. 3-year, $24.75 million. They signed Khyiris Tonga to a 3-year, $21 million deal, the defensive tackle. They signed Kader Kohou, which I don't know why. He was bad with the Dolphins, but he signs a 1-year deal with the Chiefs. They re-signed Tyquan Thornton to a 2-year, $11 million deal. And that's it. They lost a lot compared to what they gained. They lost a ton compared to what they gained. All right, now, Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders agreed to a 3-year, $81 million deal with Tyler Linderbaum. He is their center. He is Fernando Mendoza's center. I would have preferred an extra year on this, but hey, 3 years works. So I am looking at this very simply. The way the contract is set up, it doesn't hurt them this year. It works with the dead cap. I love it. It's fantastic. Great signing, 100%. Then they signed linebacker Nakobe Dean to a 3-year deal, taking him away from the Philadelphia Eagles. He has battled injuries, so they're hoping he doesn't have too many of those while playing with them. So has Quay Walker. Quay Walker had a 3-year deal, $40.5 million. So their linebacking core is brand new. Malcolm Kuntz returned to the Raiders on a 1-year, $11 million deal. Kwity Paye, 3-year, $48 million deal. And now he is going to be, as of right now, opposite of Max Crosby. I like where this is right now for the Raiders. They re-signed Eric Stokes to a 3-year deal worth $30 million. This deal is an interesting one. They signed Jalen Nailor to a 3-year, $35 million deal. We'll see. We'll see. They still need a receiver to take that second slot because Naylor needs to be in the slot. They need a receiver still for the second wideout position. They signed Matt Gay to a 1-year deal. They let Daniel Carlson go. And why they would sign Matt Gay, the guy that has lost the Commanders games last year. He lost the Colts multiple games the previous 2 years. Oh, why would you do this to your rookie quarterback? He made 74% of his kicks last year. I think they draft a kicker. I do. I think they draft a kicker. There's no way they're actually thinking Matt Gay is the answer for them at kicker. I just don't see it. All right, then the final team in the AFC. We did it! Here we go, the last team. Los Angeles Chargers bring Khalil Mack back on a 1-year, $18 million deal. Trey Pipkins, they brought back on a 2-year, $10 million deal. Deshaun Phillips, the linebacker, Delshon Phillips, 2-year deal. Charlie Kolar agreed to a 3-year, $24.3 million deal. They let Will Dissly go. Oronde Gadsden is definitely tight end number 1, but Kolar will be the blocking tight end 2. They bring in Keaton Mitchell, speed back, 2-year, $9.25 million deal. Dean Leonard on a 1-year deal. Alec Ingold comes over, big fullback, should really help Marion Hampton. 2-year, $7.5 million deal. Penning and the Chargers, Trevor Penning re-signs with the Chargers again on a 1-year deal. Cole Strange, the guard from the Dolphins, comes in on a 2-year deal. Tyler Biadze comes in, was the center for the Commanders, played for the Cowboys previously to that. He will replace Bradley Bozeman, their center that actually retired in February. Denzel Perryman also comes back to the Chargers on a 1-year deal. All right. So, let's take a look here. Tonight, let's go to last night. What do we got? We got 5 minutes. Here we go. Let's go to last night. So last night, some big games took place. The Pistons beat the Sixers 131-109. The Pistons, they're rolling pretty good. The Sixers are in trouble. And we'll look at that next week. We'll look at the NBA standings again next week because they are in trouble. They better watch their back. The Suns beat the Pacers 123-108. The Magic beat the Wizards 136-131. Hawks beat the Nets 108-97. The Milwaukee Bucks still can't win a game. They lose to the Heat 112-105. Mavericks beat the Memphis Grizzlies 120-112. The two big games from last night. Denver comes back, beats the Spurs 136-131 in a thrilling game. Man, that was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. And then the Celtics lose to the Thunder by 2, 104-102. Two really big games, a lot of fun to watch, absolutely amazing. And then the Lakers beat the Bulls 142-130 in an offensive explosion. Tonight, Memphis is at Detroit. Detroit should continue rolling. The Knicks are at the Pacers. It depends on how everybody feels about playing the Knicks. We seem to play certain teams really tough because we don't like them. We'll see what happens tonight. Knicks at the Pacers. The Suns are at the Raptors, which is a very underrated game. The Raptors have lost a couple in a row here, and they're in danger of dropping down that standings list as well. The Cavaliers go to Dallas to play the Mavericks. Pelicans are in Houston to play the Rockets. Minnesota at Golden State. Minnesota's looked awful. Awful the last few games. So this this is a big game tonight. Minnesota has got to get back on the winning streak. They've struggled against the Lakers, struggle against the Clippers. Now they got the Warriors. We'll see what happens. Utah plays Portland, should be a fun game. And then the Bulls on the second night of a back-to-back go play the Clippers. All right, we will go over the brackets and everything else on Monday morning after we get everything. So I will say this. Number one, I will be opening up. So Penguin and I run a bunch of fantasy leagues. We opened up he and I both have decided we're going to open up a Yahoo Fantasy Baseball League because Sleeper doesn't have baseball. And then we're also going to do fantasy basketball on Yahoo as well, one that doesn't have the lock-in. So, if you have Yahoo Sports, if you played fantasy sports before and you're out there, and you want into the baseball league, I will actually be creating that here in a few minutes, and you want into the baseball league, send me a message, comment, join the Discord, let me know. Obviously, it'll be 10 or 12 teams. Let me know. Come on in. Play against us. Play against the hardcore fantasy guys. And see what you can do. But that will be something where he and I, Sleeper, we've been trying to get them to do a lot of different things. And reality is, we gotta move to Yahoo for a couple of other leagues for now, because I will be doing a hockey one next year. Looks like that's going to be on Yahoo as well. All right. Okay. There's that. We'll go over the tournament stuff Monday. We'll wrap up probably the NFL free agency Monday. And then we'll start looking ahead to different things. Major League Baseball's big, their Major League Baseball season is only 3 weeks away? No, 2. 27th. So 2 weeks away, Major League Baseball season starts, which is why I got to go make that's why I got to go make the Fantasy Baseball League now, so that I can get everybody in so we can get the draft done before the season starts. So the draft will be next week. The draft will be next weekend then. So, but yeah, if you want to join, send me a message, join the Discord, comment in the video, whatever it may be. As always, it's Friday. And I tell you what, be careful out there. The sky is absolutely clear. But there are up to 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts out here. It's windy. It is windy. You got trash can lids flying all over the place off of dumpsters. I mean, squirrels are having a hard time hanging on to trees. It's windy. So please be careful if you're in the Midwest windstorm that is right now. It's sunny. It's 52 degrees. It's windy as heck. So please be careful. But it's been a good week. It has been a really good week. NFL free agency brought everything we hoped it would. Watch the basketball tournaments over this weekend. I've got the bracket. It is in Sleeper. I'll probably create one on ESPN. But I've already got a bunch of guys into the bracket on Sleeper for college basketball. Also, comment if you want to be part of that. Come in, show your skills in picking who's best and who's going to win the tournament. Last year, I won. So I won that one, and I was absolutely happy. No brag, just fact. All right, guys, have an absolutely fantastic Friday. Finish out the week as strong as you can. Make it the best weekend that you can, and I will talk to you guys Monday morning. It may be another 90-minute podcast Monday because we may have a lot to go over. But we'll see when Monday comes around. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your time, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share the podcast with a friend. And as always, I deeply appreciate it. Until next time, for Sports Talk with Hawk, I am Hawk, and I'm out. See you guys Monday. Have a great weekend.